Hello dear students, once again welcome to another session where I am going to show you a brief flashback or insight into something that we call at IAS Baba as the PEP way to prelims. Not just any prelims, specifically for your prelims 2025. Now, as I said, it's a flashback thing. Let me just take you to a previous year question which was asked in 2019. It's from the area of science and tech. The question reads as it's a topic about RNA interference. Now, they've asked RNA interference technology has gained popularity in the last few years. For what purpose has it been used is the question asked over here. So, when I'm looking at this question, now this is a previous year question, and how do I take up this topic? Like, I understand RNA interference is important. Maybe it was important only for that year. So, I look at the current affairs. I understand there were several news articles in 2019 related to RNA interference. But I also have a takeaway from this. If UPSC has put a question on RNA interference, this is somehow there in their vantage point. It's there in their area of vision. RNA interference has caught their attention. Okay, so this is way back in 2019. From 2019 onwards, whenever the science and tech classes of PEP and other subjects or foundation batch used to happen, I used to teach a certain topic called as your transcription. Now, when it comes to transcription, this is a process. Those who are very new to science and tech, I wanted to understand, this is a process that is happening inside your cell. Okay, so you have in your cell, you have a genetic material called as your DNA. At certain points in your DNA, what happens is this DNA gets converted into something called as RNA, and this RNA later on codes for something called as proteins, and the presence or absence of proteins is what gives us certain features. So, for example, if I'm having curly hair, it's because of certain proteins that are coded in my body. If I'm having black eyes, it's because of certain proteins coded in my body. Now, so when I'm saying that it's my DNA that is different, what basically is different? From one person to another, the DNA codes for RNA. The RNA creates different proteins, and when a protein is expressed in your body, or when a protein is created in your body, it gives rise to certain features. This is a very normal content. It is the static content that I would teach students when RNA interference was there in news, or when RNA interference came as PYQ. I would teach students this specific static content. Along with it, I would also teach them obviously RNA interference. Now, when I was teaching them RNA interference, I come across the idea that RNA interference could be conducted in three major ways. Okay. One is RNA interference that can happen after the stage of transcription. It's called as post-transcription. RNA interference, another method for doing RNA interference is called as anti-sense RNA. And another method for doing RNA interference is something called as microRNA. This is taught. Now, we keep that information over there and cut to your 2024. What has happened is, all of a sudden, microRNA has become important. Why? Because in the recent Nobel Prizes for your medicine, microRNA has come back in news. Which means something that just had a static part is now also becoming important because of a current affair. And the current affair being the Nobel Prize. So, in this year's PEP program, my extended focus would not just be on all the methods of RNA interference, but specifically on the microRNA. Why? Because already I know UPSC has RNA interference in its vantage point, in its vision area of vision. Why? Because it is asked as a previous year question. Now I know there is an added improvement coming on it in the form of microRNA. So the next thing I would do for my students who would be attending the PEP course is teach them microRNA in utter detail. Now, that is exactly what I'm going to do for you guys also. When I'm saying microRNA, what is the kind of thing I have to prepare? Should I know about the entire history about this thing called as microRNA? No, I just need to prepare myself for a very specific UPSC question. And that predicted question is the different applications of my microRNA. Why specifically? Because again, after analyzing the question papers of several years, we have found out that whenever UPSC wants to ask a tricky question on biotech, they ask an application-based question on it. So rather than asking the entire details about microRNA, they are more likely to ask you what are the applications of microRNA in your body. Got it? So let's get that 2 marker right now, because I'm going to tell you what exactly is this entire microRNA's applications. First of all, as I told you, the current affair is the Nobel Prize for Medicine that has been awarded recently. And to give a very quick definition on what microRNA is, microRNAs are small, non-coded type of RNA molecules. Now, what is those non-coded type of RNA molecules? I told you, RNA always codes for a protein, right? Only when it codes for a protein, that protein is there in our body and a certain feature might be expressed. What if an RNA is non-coding? Non-coding means that piece of RNA does not have the ability to create a protein. So this is the meaning of the word non-coded. Okay. Why do we need this? This is produced in our body, but why do we need this? And this is where you have to understand a small tiny process, which is when I told you in our body there is DNA and DNA gets converted into RNA in a process called as transcription. After this, RNA gets created. The first kind of RNA that gets created over here is something called as a messenger RNA, the mRNA. Now, I've told this in a class, the messenger RNA is like a courier person. Why? Because the DNA is like, come on, let's start making the proteins, and the DNA gives rise to this messenger RNA in your cell's nucleus. The messenger RNA is basically doing the work of a messenger. It goes to a certain other organelle in our cell called as your ribosome. And this is where all the protein action happens. The messenger RNA goes to the ribosome and tells, guys, I have reached over here. Let's start the protein making process. But at that point, if I don't want the protein to get created for some reason, let's say there is a protein that might cause maybe cancer in our body, I don't want that protein to get created. But this messenger RNA is going to your ribosome and saying, let's make the protein for the cancer. At this point in our body, there are, or you can create certain things called as your microRNAs. In a very simple manner, I can tell you the microRNAs will be just opposite to whatever this messenger RNA is. And when this messenger RNA is coming and the microRNA is coming together to the ribosome, and the ribosome is like, okay guys, which one of you should I be actually taking? What happens? At that point, the protein synthesis doesn't happen because the ribosome is receiving 2 kinds of information. One is a messenger RNA, the other one is a microRNA. But we know it is a messenger RNA and a microRNA. The ribosome is like, I am getting 2 RNA molecules. Which one do I take? And thus what happens? The ribosome is like, leave it. I am not doing protein synthesis at this particular point. So any feature I don't want in my body, what can I do? I can stop the expression of the creation of the protein by having your microRNAs. Okay. So this is the understanding of microRNA. So if I am asking you if this is the understanding, what can it be used for? Any feature in our body that does not want its expression, or I need to maybe increase the expression of it or decrease the expression of it, what do? I can use microRNA. Simple example, I have a flower which is light blue in color, because how did the flower get light blue color? Because there are some proteins created in it. I want the flower's production of proteins to become much more higher, so that the flower, not just it's a light blue color, it becomes darker and darker and darker. That means I want more expression of proteins. If I want more expression of proteins, what do I do in my body? Whatever is the microRNA that is trying to stop the expression of protein, I remove it. I'm like, no need microRNA, don't go interfere in this process. I need this flower to be more and more and more blue in color. Let's not stop the expression of protein, which means that the primary application of microRNA is to increase or decrease the expression of any feature in my body. Any feature. If I want the feature to be expressed more, I remove the microRNA. If I want the feature to be expressed less, I increase the microRNA. So, in our body, protein expression and your creation of microRNA is very inversely proportional. Why? Because if you are having more number of microRNA, that protein will not get expressed fully. If you are having less number of microRNA, that protein will get expressed more. Now think about the possibilities of it. Any given feature, any feature in your body, if you want its expression to be regulated, you can use microRNA. Here is your 2 marker for Prelims 2025, because they are going to put in any 3-4 different features, increasing the color of flowers, increasing the yield of flowers, increasing, leave the flowers part, increasing the, the immunity of our body. Any feature I want to be expressed more or less, I can regulate it with microRNA. And this is your question for 2025. So when I'm telling you, you learn a topic in a PEP way, what I basically expect you to do is look at a previous year question. From the previous year question, you try to understand what is the content that is relevant. From the content that is relevant, I look into what is the current affair that is relevant. Once I understand what the current affair that is relevant is, I look into the explanation and a possible question for it. And this, my dear students, is how you crack prelims. You must have heard, people say that, okay, I've cracked prelims once and I keep cracking it every now and then. I think I have a knack for prelims. What is the knack for prelims? It is not someone coming and telling you the answers. Knack for prelims is knowing how to learn a topic, specifically just for UPSC purpose. And this is exactly what we do it in the PEP way. So I hope this has been clear to you, and yeah, thank me when you answer that question in that in your Prelims 2025 when you answer the question on the microRNA. Yeah. So I hope you will remember this class that you attended in a span of just 10-15 minutes that yielded that 2 marks. Until we meet again, take care and happy learning.